Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our third part on budgeting with Nav and Nav tools. Today we have Matt from T3 Full Circle joining us, who's going to be sharing the product that they have and showing us how easy it is to use Excel with some budgeting tools, and this will be a resource that you can use and then do your budgets right in Excel and then send your information back to NAV. So on that note, take it away, Matt.
All right, great. Thank you. Again, welcome everybody. We will be presenting today Full Circle Budget, where our slogan is perk up your Excel-based budgets. Moving forward, budgeting with Excel. We all know today is in today's day and age, Excel is a very popular tool in finance, especially with organizations doing budgeting. Why do people use Excel? The obvious answers are it's very flexible, easy to use, powerful formulas, quick modeling, etc. However, with all the good Excel brings to the table, there's definitely some common challenges, such as the lack of a central database. Since Excel is a file-based system, you generally have a lack of control and data integrity, no audit trail, etc. And in the Dynamics world, on the NAV side especially, there are some frequent pain points that users experience, such as manually formatting workbooks in Excel to get them ready for budgeting, linking workbooks together to create a budget system, copying and pasting data to get the budget data from Excel back into your dynamic system, and spending hours reconciling the budget from Excel back to your NAV system. So the key question posed today is, what if there was a solution that leveraged the best of Excel for budgeting but minimized those challenges? So we're here to present. The answer is Full Circle Budget. So Full Circle Budget is an Excel-based add-in. It's not going to sit inside your Dynamics NAV system, but it sits in Excel, and it has a variety of functions and features to help minimize some of those challenges. Two primary functions Full Circle Budget serves are as follows. It will help format the Excel workbooks for the budget entry, and it will help save the budget data directly back to your Microsoft Dynamics solution. I know most of you, if not all, are Microsoft Dynamics NAV, but our current integrations include GP, SL, NAV, and on the SL side, the project controller. We have one customer profile case study we're going to review today. Costa Del Mar is a sunglass manufacturer in Florida, and their budget challenge was they had 26 departments that budgeted for about 60,000 fully qualified accounts. And it took them about a week to copy and paste the budget data from Excel and get it tied out in their dynamic system. After implementing Full Circle Budget, they now save and update all that budget data directly from Excel in about 15 minutes. So again, a huge time saver. Needless to say, Ms. Morrissey is thrilled with the time savings. Some of the key features we'll focus on when we get to the demo will be as follows. Again, you're in Excel, so the system is very flexible. Any format you can design in Excel, Full Circle Budget can adapt to. We allow you to save budget data in two different options, real-time or batch mode. Real-time means everybody is saving budget data with Full Circle Budget. Batch mode means accounting controls the saving of the budget data back to your accounting system. We support multiple budgets in the same workbook. So you can actually, in the worksheet, I should say, you can actually have 3 different, 4 different, as many budgets that you want to budget for at the same time in the same worksheet, and Full Circle Budget will process that data directly back to NAV all at the same time. And finally, the audit log. So we have a full audit trail of all the updates as you save from Excel back to your accounting system. It'll track all that information. On the formatting side, some of the key features that Full Circle Budget does, it helps color code the cells for budget entry. So again, it points the user in the direction of where they have to go enter their budget data. We password protect the worksheets and lock out all the non-budget cells. We'll specify page layout, freeze frame options, and we'll also create some formulas and variance calculations, etc. These last 2 options come in handy if you're exporting data from a system where that doesn't pass through. This is a typical sample using Management Reporter, which is a reporting tool off to a couple of the other Dynamics products. So Management Reporter is a reporting solution that generates reports to the web, and it's sitting on top of my Dynamics system here. And when I generate that report and export it to Excel, you'll see Full Circle Budget recognizes that template as a budget tool, and it formats the workbook ready for the end user. Now you can distribute those workbooks, save. The data instantly gets processed directly back through Full Circle Budget and into your Dynamics NAV system. So you can just continually report on updated budget data directly from your accounting system. The next slide is going to give you a quick snapshot of some of our clients, a variety of industries, some bigger names: BET, American Petroleum Institute, Volunteers of America, Goodwill Industries International. So a good variety of clients are using this solution. And that concludes the demo portion, or the PowerPoint portion. Now we're going to slide on to the demo. All right, so on my screen, I have a sample Excel workbook that'll kind of give you an orientation to how Full Circle Budget works. And I'll walk you through this. So in order for Full Circle Budget to save the budget data back to your NAV accounting solution, we need to know where the account information is, where the budget dimensions are, the global dimensions, etc. All that information that is tracked in NAV. And we just need to map that up on my spreadsheet in my definition. And once we have that mapped up, then all that's left to do is enter budget data, including comments, and we can store that information directly back to your accounting system. So I'm going to jump over here real quick now that we just have that little bit of an overview there. I'm going to run you through a quick little process here where I'm going to take a report that is in that Management Reporter output, which is, again, it's going to be an internet-based reporting solution. So you can envision this as a non-Excel based reporting tool. And I'm going to take this report, which includes multiple, it's a tree, so it includes multiple units. And I seem to be having some delays here. There we go. There's the units. So these will all be individual worksheets in the workbook when I download it. So I'm going to go ahead and download this file to Excel. And when I open it in Excel, I'm ultimately going to be able to format it based on the budget definition that has been set up for it. So I'm just saving this file to a shared folder. And when I open this file up, you'll see that it's just a plain Excel workbook generated based on that output. And I've got multiple sheets here for budget entry. So from a Full Circle Budget standpoint, what I want to do is highlight these columns of data for budget entry. And I want to put comments fields in here because I can track comments in Full Circle Budget. So you'll notice at the top of my ribbon bar, I have Full Circle Budget. So this is a ribbon bar for the accounting users, the administrators. End users who are saving budget data will only see the process workbook option. So if I go to my definition window here, you'll notice that one of these is highlighted. This particular definition matches this layout that's in Excel. And that's how it knows what format we're going to do. Under the Fields tab for the definition is where we map up the fields related to this particular information. And I'll get to a NAV specific mapping here in a second where you'll see more information. But basically, I'm mapping up these fields and I'm color coding the different data sets. So again, once this data is set up for you, you're pretty much ready to go with budgeting from one period to the next, 1 year to the next. For budget entry, I just need to go to the process workbook option, and I'm going to go ahead and pick a couple sheets here. I actually have to make a quick change to a printer setting here first. Bear with me. And now I'm going to process retrieve on this workbook. And you can see on the right-hand side here, Full Circle Budget is going through the 4 sheets that I selected, and it's going to format the workbook for me. So you'll notice here it's color-coded the projection and the budget columns for those 4 different sheets that I selected to process. So the data that's not color-coded is protected based on my definition. I put a password on the sheet, so it automatically locks the users out. I can only come into this area here and enter data in these cells where you have designated the user to come in and enter their data. Again, comments can be entered in here as well. We have 4 comment fields per budget amount that you can use, and that data is stored in a SQL database on the back end. So you can always retrieve the budget data at any point in time with your choice of reporting tools, because the data is in SQL, so you can use something. So I'm going to take that data. I've entered data on one sheet, a little bit of information. I want to save that. We provide the user with 3 options to save budgets. They can right-click, go to Full Circle Budget and save, which is what we call the quick save. It's going to automatically try and process data from the entire workbook. Okay. The other option is to just simply hit Save in Excel, and it brings up this prompt to prompt the user to save the budget data with Full Circle Budget. I'm going to say no here for this particular case. The other option is to manually hit Process Workbook and pick and choose which sheets I want to save. So since I only entered data on the one sheet, I'm only going to save the one sheet for now. If I entered data on multiple sheets, I would want to do one. So as I enter that data and save, it now updated 6 messages for me. Oops. It updated that data for those 6 updates that I just did back to that method. If it decides to show up and view results. So this results window pops up to the end user to know if they had any errors, warnings, or messages. So you can see here per line, I can click on these and it's taking me to the cell that has been updated automatically in the Excel worksheet. So it tells me and or the end user what data has been updated. So again, I can go to my second sheet here if I want, and maybe I want to enter some more data here. I want 35,000. Enter that. I seem to be having some delays here. My computer. Process, save, and that fast, all those changes are instantly updated to my Microsoft Dynamics accounting system. So again, I can use any reporting tool that you use now to run the date reports from Nav, and that budget data is in there under those respective budget IDs. Okay, so now I'm going to switch over real quick to a Nav sample where we can kind of walk through the budget dimension, global dimensions, and things like that. So in this particular case, if I'm looking at this format and this layout, if I go to my definition window and I start scrolling through it, one of these is going to be highlighted for NAV for this particular sheet. This one right here. My mouse is playing tricks on me. So this particular definition matches this layout. And if I go to my fields tab here, you'll see fields that make more sense based on your NAV data set, where you'll have information regarding not only the account, but the budget dimensions, the global dimensions, etc. I apologize, but my computer just seems to be taking forever to show stuff. Bear with me one second. There we go. Fields tab. Well, I apologize, but something's not working with the connection settings here. I'm not able to connect. Something's blocking it. So I'm not exactly sure what to do there. So I'm just going to go ahead and do some data entry here. But basically this data is going to get saved to Nav under these respective areas. And I've got 2 sheets here. This one's going to go to my budget dimension 20, summer, global dimension, production, VW, and I'm just using the NAV demo database. And then this one here is actually going to go to budget dimension 30 for summer, prod, and the VW. So when I enter some budget data in here, which again, the amounts, the comments that I want to put in here for the budget, and again, NAV uses an entry number system or line item number for each of these entries. I can enter that manually, or Full Circle Budget will automatically generate the next entry number automatically. So I'm going to enter data again on these two sheets. And let me just do one. And I'm going to process workbook, and I'm going to choose the two sheets instead of just one, and I'm going to go ahead and hit save. So again, that data is processing with Full Circle Budget. 18 items were updated automatically. So these items were updated for these two sheets instantly. So let me open this up a little wider. I guess it's a format issue. So these are the journal entry numbers or entry IDs for these particular items in NAV. These are the amounts, and these are the comments that just got written back to NAV. So if I were to go to the audit trail or the log viewer, here is where, as an admin, I'll be able to see all the updates that have happened so far today. So I've got 349 entries that have been saved and processed in NAV from Full Circle Budget. So if I export that to Excel, I'll be able to walk you through here. So in the audit trail, you'll be able to track the date and time of the entries, who the user is, the action, which is a save, a bypass, or an error. So we track error messages, bypasses, or saves. The workbook that was used, the worksheet, and then the account is all captured here in one big column. So the account for NAV is going to be the account number, the journal entry number, and then each of the budget and global dimensions automatically are going to be assembled in this particular window. And then which budget ID was used, and the period, and the amounts, etc. So all that information is automatically captured in the audit trail. And that audit trail, again, this by default pops up for 1 day. I can change this and go back a week, 2 weeks, a month, 3 months, etc. One of the other features of the audit trail includes workbook tracking. So if I go 6 months back in time, and if I was looking for a workbook that was used during my budget cycle back in May, let's say, I can click Open Workbook, and Full Circle Budget's going to find a copy of this workbook that was used during that point in time. So tracking file 0001482 is the file that relates to that particular entry in the audit log. So again, this is the copy of a workbook used at that point in time. It's not the original workbook, because you'll more than likely you'll continue to use the original workbook throughout the process. This is a copy of that workbook at that point in time. So again, you have instant recovery of workbooks throughout the budget cycle, and can always access them through the audit trail open workbook option. So again, this data is tracked in NAV. If I were to go to the budget maintenance window section of Full Circle Budget and pick the connection, so in this case, my connection is my NAV company. And if I go here and I start searching for one of these account numbers down here, so I'm going to go ahead and search for the revenue account 4210 and pick it. Now what I need to do is match up my global dimensions and my budget dimensions based on my data sheet. So I'm going to look for my Europe, or I'm going to look for my production and my VW transporter to match with these particular segments here. I'm now going to look for my North Europe entry, and it already defaulted to summer for me. So you can see here, here's the budget data on the back end. There's entry 1142 with the date of 1/1/2014. There's the amount, and then here's the description and comments that were tracked in the database. Okay, if I were to take a look at another one, let's look at this one on the 20 section. You'll see more transactional data because your budget data in NAV can be transactional based. And I'm going to open this up. And I go to production, VW, and go to North America. You can see here I've got many more entries in this particular account. Each of these adds up to the sum of the budget data. But if I scroll down here and look at my entry 1133, here's 1133, there's the 810,000 comments for budget entry, and there's the comments. So again, this is a quick and easy way with the budget maintenance window to look up by account and dimension the budget data that's in NAV without having to go to NAV to look it up. It automatically tracks and reads the NAV database right from here. Another option I want to show you is this is just an annual budget. I'll go into one month. If I go to my monthly budget template where I'm going to have my months going across the top, I don't know why I keep having issues with connectivity here. You'll have to bear with me. All right. So I'm entering some budget data here for these particular months. And you'll notice again, I've got the months going across January, February, March. Well, in NAV, we need to know what date goes with these particular entries, because you can actually have multiple entries on the same day, or you can have one entry per day per month. So you could have 365 days, etc. What I'm doing real simply here in this particular definition is converting the month name to a singular date, the first day of each month. So in particular, I think I'm having issues with this particular presentation software. I close that. Anyways, we have 5 minutes left before our 30-minute update. So I wanted to make sure we open lines and at least get questions answered as I manage the rest of this connection to the server for our demo. So if we want to see if there's any questions.
Hi, Matt. So we do have a couple of questions. The first question comes in today from Peter, and Peter writes, does the budget data get saved to my Dynamics company or just to Full Circle Budget?
Good question. So again, the data gets saved through both. So the data gets processed from the Excel workbooks through Full Circle Budget. So we have the audit trail of what's being saved, by whom and when, etc. And it gets updated directly to your NAV company at the same time. So everything is instantaneous.
Fantastic. So the next question comes from Brittany. And Brittany writes, what is the typical implementation timeframe?
Typically, the implementation can be done in under a day from start to finish. Installation, setup, and configuration. That all assumes that the organization has a template that they want to configure Full Circle Budget for. Outside of that, generally, we've seen where we have to, assist the clients or the organizations with changing their budget templates, et cetera, to match up with something that they want to do. But if they've got a template they want to work with, by all means, we can have everything completed in generally under a day. And I was actually able to get this connection going again here, so I can walk through another setting if we had to. Depends on questions.
So we do have one more question. So why don't we address that and then we'll finish the question.
Okay.
Or finish the demonstration. So this question comes to us and the user says, Does the end user of Full Circle Budget have to be a NAV user?
Another good question. So the end user does not have to be a NAV user at all. The data gets saved through a connection that is set up for the Full Circle Budget company itself. So any user on the system in Full Circle Budget Enterprise is an unlimited number of users. So anybody who has this installed would be able to save budget data without being a NAV user. Okay. Anything else you can think of? Otherwise, I'm going to spend another 1 or 2 minutes just giving a quick overview of the rest of this.
Yeah, those are all the questions we have at this moment.
All right, great. So again, I apologize for the technical hiccups and issues here. I think I was having some kind of internet connectivity or connection issue to the demo server. But what I have open here is the definition for this particular monthly budget layout here. And again, here's where you can see the account mapping. So I'm basically telling the system, look in column A for the account number, but I've got a formula in here that says if A is blank, skip it, otherwise use column A. And then some of these other items like the budget dimension is in cell A3. So you just basically tell the system where you want or where this information is in your Excel spreadsheet. Or if it's blank, you can put blank if you're using those or not using those. But one of the things I wanted to highlight for this one is the period. So again, I've got months going across the top. What I'm doing is using an Excel formula called the month date value function that's going to convert row 9 of my spreadsheet, which is these numbers here, these words, convert that to a period number, and then I'm adding to it the rest of the date that's here. So I'm putting the date in as the first date of each month. So when I'm in April, it's going to save this budget to April 1, 2014, May 21, 14. And Full Circle Budget can be set up with one definition for all 12 months by me just telling the system, I have 12 columns here of data that I want to repeat this setup for. So again, I can take this information, and since I've entered some budget data, just like I did before, I can save, and all that budget data for those particular 7 accounts for 12 months has been updated directly to NAV. Again, Audit Trail, I can look here and I can see the budget data. I can export it to Excel, and again, I can see the budget that was updated for what areas, and the budget ID, etc., is all pushed through. All right, that's all I have. If there's anything else, don't hesitate to ask. We thank you for your time. Appreciate